Hey, I'm Adam Thompson. Today I'm going to go through the lessons you can learn from your organisation from air traffic control.
Captain, maybe we ought to turn on the searchlights now.
Oh. It's just what they'll be expecting us to do.
Let's get right into it. There's a pretty simple reason why air traffic control over the years has got its act together, and that's because when it gets it wrong. So let's look at some of the lessons that we can take. Communication. In air traffic control, there are distinct protocols for communicating, and the crucial thing is called the readback. Here's an example.
Virgin 45 Whiskey Heavy, heading 310, maintain 4,000.
Heading 310, maintain 4,000, Virgin 45 Whiskey.
The whole point of the readback is that it provides a closed loop that allows there to be confidence on both sides that the message has been received. Whereas in most organisations,
Roger. Huh?
LA departure frequency 123.9er.
Roger. Huh? Request vector. Over. What?
we'd have what I would call infinity loops, where communication is assumed to have gotten there, which ultimately results in disappointment for one side or often both sides. You might not know it, but air traffic control consists of 3 or 4 levels of control to make sure that things get from the terminal out safely into the air, and it's the same 4 levels back down again. Planes do not get released onto the runway until the runway is ready to handle them. Before a handoff occurs, the pilot is told where to pick up the next signal and who to get in contact with.
That's 226, connect tower 128.8. 28, clear.
In air traffic control, the method of handing off is considered to be crucial. Whereas if you think of the way it works in most organisations, handoffs just occur when feel like it. If you're done, you just give it on and then it's not your problem anymore. What's the key thing to successful landing of any plane? It's going to be landing on the runway by yourself. And what's the thing that determines how many planes can be landed on a given airport per hour? It's going to be runway capacity. So how do we maximize runway capacity and avoid people getting hurt? We sequence the planes coming in. So sequencing is considered to be crucial, just like the handoffs, not only to make sure that people are safe, but to maximize throughput, which allows the airport to make as much money as possible and the airlines to make money as well, and the passengers to land as quickly as they can. Think about how that works in your organization. You've got a constraint point. Instead of a runway, you might have certain people where work's always going through. How do you sequence the work going in? My guess is you don't. You might talk the language of priorities, which is all very well, but what that simply tends to do is it reduces the number of planes that are all trying to land at once, but they're still trying to land at once. And whenever you do that, you're going to have a crash. The only difference is in the workplace, that crash is a gradual deterioration of mental and emotional reserves until eventually people crack. It is crucial that we find what our runways are, the things that set the pace of the system, and we sequence the work in so that we're able to maximize the throughput of that area, which in turn allows your strategy to be executed sooner. But there's also one more, which is going to link as well, which is visualizing. Now, you're probably aware of the classic radar, but what you might not also be aware of was back in the day, they literally had blocks which would have flight numbers written on them. They would put them in, fed by gravity, and that would be the order that they're landing them in. It allows them to visualize the planes that they are responsible for, so we don't lose one and we know the order that they're landing in.
Scores.
Now that's been replaced by digital methods today, but the principle remains the same. Sequence them to make sure we have both safety and maximum throughput. Visualization is simply a must-have. I'm guessing you've got a couple of areas which are running Kanban boards. It's almost zero chance that your executive team is running the equivalent of a big Kanban board where they can see the status of all the flights that are currently going on, when they're sequenced to land, and what's going to occur. No way to see in real time what's moving along, what's going to land, which allows us to throw management attention towards them to see whether we can make sure that they all land successfully and keep the throughput going. And that's fundamentally why all these things matter. We need to be able to communicate.
Tell me if you can rest your goggles upon Auchentoshan Plain Station.
No!
Because we're going to be having handoffs. Handoffs make sure the work keeps occurring and allows us to then sequence the work as it does move through, so we can maximize that throughput through the organization, and the visualizing of that work allows us to see where things are in the air to make sure that we can land them successfully.
I got them lined up like rockets.
Apply them to your organization, and the ability to put into action the strategy that you come up with will be significantly improved. I'll see you next time.
Fly through the sky, through the sky, through the sky. Fly through the sky.